Hey Soul Tribe, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. What do your hater or your haters now realize that you were right about? How have you proven your hater wrong, right? Okay, what do your hater or haters now realize you were right about? We're going to find out exactly how they feel they are wrong, okay, when it comes to you. Hi, my name is Diana, Psychic Intuitive. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get right into this message. So I feel that a very key thing your haters now realize about you is that you are protected. You're not vulnerable like they thought you were. You're not vulnerable. Your energy is, and they're mad about it. They're mad about it, actually. Your energy is quite stable, and you have a very powerful force in your life there to protect you. They're also realizing that it's almost like you wanted things to be very formal. You wanted things to be very to follow certain protocol, certain criteria, and they're realizing now that you were right about that. Okay, they're also realizing that you're right about the fact that inner peace should be protected. Inner peace should be protected. So perhaps this person had the idea that it's okay to try to put a hurt on your calm or put a hurt on the calm of others. And they're realizing that you're right about the fact that the inner calm of others should be protected. That emotions are important and not to be overlooked. Emotions matter. Okay? This is something they're realizing that you're right about. The inner peace matters. Okay? And in that if they are not protected, this can damage relationships. They're realizing that you have a certain wisdom about you when it comes to that. I'm also getting that your hater or haters are realizing that you're superior when it comes to protecting your emotions or protecting the emotions of others. Something like this. You're superior at protecting something or somebody. Okay, just apply it to your situation as it fits, and remember that if you're here watching this message is definitely for you. They realize that you are right about certain truths, that you are telling the truth about something, and that your understanding of the situation is correct. Okay, this is something they realize that you're right about. Yeah, you definitely have a certain understanding of things that they're realizing that your understanding is correct. It is correct. And we'll get more information about this. They're also realizing that you bring goodness into relationships. You bring goodness. You bring purity. You bring light. You bring goodness into relationships. This is something you're right about. You're right. And they also see your innocence now. And they see that what you wanted was peace all along. You wanted peace. This could be your inner peace or just peace in the world. That this is the perspective that you are coming from. So even if you were, maybe a bit chaotic at times, or, however you presented yourself, they now realize that you were right, but your intent was right. Okay? Your intent to flood the emotional world of others with goodness and mercy and light and innocence, not being malicious. The opposite of maliciousness is something you are right about. It's going to be a very interesting story behind this. Let's get some more information. We have the Ace of Swords. Wow. So I do feel like your hater or your haters are feeling that you were telling the truth. Yeah, I got that before in the energy aspect of the reading. You were telling the truth. You're truthful. That you understood the situation for what it was and what it is. Okay? No one's going to be able to pull the wool over your eyes. Your sense of reasoning is sharp and accurate. You have clarity. Okay? And you are very intelligent. And you're able to pierce the veil of illusion and realize exactly what was going on. You're not confused and you're not misinformed. This is something they're realizing you're right about, your hater or your haters. Alright. We have the Hierophant. Okay. So, they're also realizing that you're right about your perspective or the things you have to say, your thoughts on their traditions and their religion. Okay? Perhaps there's a religion that you believe in. They're realizing that you're right. Your religion is right about some things, or your tradition is correct about certain things. The way you roll, the way you were raised, your culture, your background, the way you do things, your traditions are correct. Okay, you're right about some things there. We're going to get more information as we go along in regards to this. They're realizing that you go about things a certain traditional way, that maybe they try to fight this or try to act like there's other ways to do it or something, and they're realizing no. Soul Tribe, my viewer, is correct. My Soul Tribe is correct about the traditions they choose to honor. Period. Okay? I feel like for some of y'all, they're also thinking that you're right about the person you chose to marry. That you were right. You chose the right person. Okay? They realize now that they were misinformed about your background. They didn't quite understand it. But the truth is that there's some correct things about the way you go about living your life, the traditions you choose to follow, the habits you choose to live according to. It could be your religion. It could be the education that you received, your educational background. It could also be just your traditional background, where you're from, your traditions that you grew up with. That there's something about it that's right. Okay, we're going to get more information like I have said. We have the King of Cups. They're realizing that the person you chose to marry is a good person, a kind person, someone who's kind, and someone who's romantic towards you, and that you've chosen correctly when it comes to your mate. It could be a man, could be a woman. Okay, that the person you've chosen in your life to be with you, or someone you've chosen to deal with. It could be, maybe it's not a marriage, maybe it's just a friend, or someone you're close to, or something like this, is you're right about your choice in this person. Okay? They also feel that you're right about there's a certain way that you put yourself across, and it's like you're not easily ruffled. You're not easily ruffled despite whatever has happened. Okay, they feel that you've matured, or that you've chosen very mature people to be in your life, or you've chosen someone who truly loves you. Okay, you chose the right person. Who really, truly, genuinely loves you in a mature way. Not the kind of love where that's my woman, that's my man. Okay, come along, honey. And they have these screwed up ideas, while they're trying to quote unquote love you. But someone who's loving you from a genuine place, a mature place, where they're like, that's my man, that's my woman. And, I think of what my man or my woman is thinking or feeling. That's important to me. The stability is important to me. Their traditions. And this is what your hater or haters are realizing, is that if you've chosen a partner in your life, that you chose the right person because that person honors your traditions, honors your vows, honors your outlook. If you're not married, then they're realizing that you're right when it comes to the fact about your religion or your beliefs, because it has led you to become a very, very emotionally stable person, a very emotionally mature person. And both of these things could be true for you. Okay, that you have chosen a certain path of living that has caused emotional maturity to blossom in your life. Okay, I'm also getting for some of you that you may have chosen to take your marriage to a therapist, and the therapist you chose is a good one, who helped you mature, helped sort of mediate and keep certain energies calmed down. They were very diplomatic and very compassionate towards your situation. It could be also that the person you have chosen is in your life, to be in your life, is diplomatic and compassionate. Okay, has a lot of wisdom and is very stable emotionally. So they're realizing that you're either right about the person you chose, or you're right about the traditions and beliefs you follow, because they made you a very emotionally stable person. We have the Page of Pentacles. I feel like your hater or your haters are realizing that you are a serious person, okay? and that you take things seriously, and that you take the person in your life very seriously as well. You also take your emotional growth very seriously. You've taken notes, you're responsible. I'm getting that there was a message that you may have reached out to them at one point and, written a letter or a message of some type, and you listed certain details in it, okay, certain goals, perhaps for the connection or for the situation. And they're realizing now that a lot of the things you wrote down in these messages, you are right about. They may have gone over these messages, gone over it to look at it, and realized that it was an opportunity for them to build certain skills, or perhaps maybe a financial opportunity of some kind. There's something you're right about when it comes to, also another message I'm getting is, there's something you're right about when it comes to a new job or a new career that you're working on. They're realizing maybe they used to butt heads with you over the kind of work you wanted to do or the kind of job that you wanted to take on. And they're realizing that you are right about the kind of job that you choose to do, okay? Or the kind of career that you're interested in getting into. Or maybe the kind of schooling you wanted to do. They feel that you wrote down some very practical things. You had practical plans about how you wanted to handle certain maybe emotional situations. They're just letters you would send, or text messages, or something, or messages. And they're realizing that a lot of those messages were very coming from a practical mindset, you being a careful handler of something, maybe animals or people, I don't know. Okay, let's keep looking. We're going to get more information where Spirit is unveiling how your hater or haters is viewing you as right today. Next, we're getting the Justice card. Yeah. You wanted things to be fair. You want people, not just yourself, right? Because we have the scales. One end is you, and the other end's got to be somebody else, right? You wanted things to be fair, and they're realizing that you were right about this. Okay? You may have pointed out in this letter that they were being unfair. Maybe you wrote for certain practical, clearly stated reasons that showed how your hater or haters were being unfair and treating you unfairly, or not handling you appropriately, or giving you an even-handed kind of treatment. And they realize now that you were right about this. Perhaps they didn't see it, or maybe they did. Maybe they were being, they knew they were being unfair, and you calling them out, they realized that you were right to do so. Okay, you were right to do so. They're realizing that you sending that message to them and trying to get them to be accountable for their actions was the right thing for you to be doing. That you showed integrity. That you, though you may have been young or young in spirit, or maybe you were a young person, or you're just young in life, it didn't take away from the fact that you were correct. That there was imbalance that needed to be corrected. There was something that was, taken away from you, or not given to you accurately, or maybe you were treated weird and there was something off about it, and you called it out, and they're realizing that you were right about it. Okay. Next, we're getting the Four of Cups. I think that this person, your hater or haters, it's possible that they've reached out to you. It's possible that they have tried to contact you and you have just not been interested in them. And they're realizing that you're right about this. You're right to be disinterested. You're right to be withdrawn and rejecting them. Okay? That you're right. They may have tried to come at you multiple times and they're noticing you're just not interested. You're just not interested. Fam, you're not. And you may have withdrawn your affections from this person, and you are now indifferent towards them, and they realize that you're right about this. They're noticing that, it's like cause and effect, right? If they're choosing to be, treat you in some kind of imbalanced way consistently, then you lose interest in them. Okay? That makes sense. And they get this. Okay, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving here. Okay? Let's take a look at your first oracle card here. We have the Princess. Ooh. The Princess. I feel like your hater or haters now realize that you're royalty. You're royalty. You act with a certain elegance, refinement. You just carry yourself with class and nobility. And they're realizing that this is not a put on. This is really you. And this way you conduct yourself and carry yourself in the situation or around them, they're realizing that was right for you to be doing. Okay? You may have been crowned. Yeah, you may have been, I feel like you may have been like, but I am royalty, okay? And I deserve to be treated with a certain respect and dignity. And they're realizing that you were right about that as well. You deserve to be treated with respect and dignity because you're a classy person who comes from a good background, okay? Where either your family or your people that you come from, they've raised you right, they've treated you right, they raised someone with class, they raised someone with character, and someone who carries themselves with dignity, or at least you've cultivated yourself to be this way. Prefer a certain type of treatment because this is how you treat others, and they're realizing now that you were right about that. Okay, past lives. Okay, getting addressed here twice. Your hater or your haters is realizing that you treated them with class and dignity. You treated them with class and dignity because this is who you are, and this is how you deserve to be treated. Okay, that energy needed to go back and forth. It was not right for you to be treating them with class and dignity while they weren't treating you with class and dignity. That wasn't right. That's what they wanted. Okay, that's what they wanted, as sick as that is. And they're realizing that you decided to let that connection be in the past because they didn't honor you and they did not treat you like they valued what they had, okay, in you. All right? Wow. Okay. Let's move on. We're getting karmic rewards. Exactly. They did not treat you like the pearl you are. Okay? They also realizing that you're right, that because of how you treated them with a certain carefulness and correctness, that good things should have been coming your way. It was right for you to expect that you would be treated well. It was right for you to expect that you would be treated carefully because you were treating others carefully. Okay? That because of the good actions you put into play, you deserve to be treated well. And you may have demanded this, or you may have brought up certain complaints or concerns. And I think maybe at some point they may have said, well, what makes you think you deserve to be treated correctly? They may have had this attitude. Maybe they didn't say it. Maybe they have had this attitude like, I don't have to treat you correctly. And they're realizing that they were wrong about that. And you wanting to be treated right. You were right about that. Okay? You deserved it. That is your correct karma. That is how you should be treated. Okay? And this is, if they weren't giving this to you, then this is why they have kept this connection. You have kept this connection in the past. Okay? Okay, gang, let's go ahead and move on here and see what else is coming through. We have the wizard. Oh my gosh. The wizard. My beautiful viewer. Your hater or haters now realize that you are sage. You are a sage. You're abundantly wise. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you have low self-esteem. You don't think you're much of anything. They're realizing that you are very smart. You're very smart. And you have certain knowledge or wisdom that you carry with you. Okay? And it's valuable. You may be an old soul type. Also getting that if you brought or involved an elder or someone that you respected, or you wanted to bring elderly people into it, or someone that was maybe more advanced than you to help out, that you were right about that. Okay? You're right to seek advice from those above you. Okay? You are right to seek advice from an advisor. You are right to seek advice. And they're also realizing that you were right about your traditions because they make you powerful. There are people who've lived very long lives healthy lives and have a lot of wisdom that have following these rules, following these traditions. We have relocation. Yeah. They're also realizing that if you wanted to be alone, okay, if you're preferring to be alone, preferring to be by yourself and all this, that was right too. If you're preferring to step away from this connection and not do things the way they wanted to do it, not honor their traditions, not honor the way they like to do it, you are right for that too. It was fine for you to move on and stay by yourself, wall them out. We have a wall there. Okay? You are right to do that. You are right because your wisdom and your maturity, needs to be protected and needs to be set apart. Okay? Just because something's tradition does not make it right. Am I right, guys? Or just because family members or the church or whoever has said that's right, does not make it right, and you were able to see through that, and you've put up a wall, you've relocated, you've moved your things. Some of y'all may have moved some kids. I see a little teddy bear. Or you just left because you need to protect your inner child. You are right about that. We have woke. Exactly. Okay? Your hater or haters does know and does realize that you awakened to certain truths. The wool can no longer be pulled over your eyes. You're a rebel with a cause, a good cause. You're fighting the powers that be because they make no sense. You are aware of all these, backdoor secrets and, good old people network, they have these deals going on and stuff with themselves. And then when they come down to you, they try to act like this is how it's supposed to be. You're like, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. That's not how it's supposed to be. I'm not going to accept that. Because if the way it's supposed to be is to keep me at a disadvantage, is to keep me being treated like shit, then it is not the way it's supposed to be, and I will rebel it and fight it till the end of my days. I will leave. I will distance myself. I will rebel. I will, chant and, pump my fists in the air and rally the people around me who think like me. I'll go stick with these people and I'll carry on in this way. They're realizing that you are right to rebel against these traditions that make no sense and to choose a tradition that honors the truths that protect everyone's rights, including your own. Okay? No system that only protects certain people but not you is the right system. Any system that's protecting certain people but not you, when you are a classy person, a posh person, followed certain rules, you were good, you were kind, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're a good person, you tried your best, you followed certain rules, you did a lot of things right, and you're still not being treated correctly, that is not a good system. You woke up, my beautiful viewer. You woke up and you're rebelling, and they realize that you are right about this now. To rebel against that system, to rebel against whoever thinks that they can buddy up, they can say, they can mistreat you and then try to pull wool over your eyes and say, no, this is how it's supposed to be. I know you're suffering and I know you're not being treated right, but you just have to accept it. Heck, even your family agrees. Heck, even the church agrees. Heck, even the government agrees. No. No matter who on the higher up agrees with this and supports it, still doesn't make it right. And you are right to fight it, and they realize this now. Okay? Next, we're getting change. Yes. The changes you're making, whether it's relocation, whether it's refusing to be sheepish, refusing to just go along just to get along, refusing, okay? These changes, they're realizing you're making, you are right. You're right to make these changes. You're right to transform your situation. It is right that you are evolving. If you had told them, hey, you need to grow up, you have some emotional maturing to do, they realize now that you were right. You were right to tell them they need to grow up. That also, the things you did, the way you have acted shows a certain emotional maturity that they can no longer ignore. Okay? That you have You're not a child. Okay? You have evolved to a point where you have the eyes to see what is emotionally mature and what is not. Next, we have projection. Exactly. You have the eyes to see that they were acting petty. You have the eyes to see. This is what they realize you're right about now, is that you called them out correctly. You saw through them. You saw that instead of doing the mature thing, they focused on blaming you. They focused on counter-blaming. They focused on projecting. They focused on fighting you instead of addressing the emotional maturities within themselves. They took it out on you. Whatever the troubles they were going through, they made you the face of it when you had nothing to do with whatever injustices they dealt with, whatever emotional issues, imbalances they had within them, whatever it was, they need their shadow elements, whatever it was, they projected that onto you. And it says here, they are fighting the monster in their mirror, and you happen to be standing in front of it. So you're dealing with, your hater or haters is starting to realize that you have caught on to the fact that they lack emotional maturity. And they may not admit this to you, but they are very aware of it. They are. They know you are right about this. They know that you are right because you have a heart of gold. You're a good person. You are a really good person, and they know it. They know you have pure intentions. They know it. But they had to pin a certain dirtiness onto you because they were resisting a certain change that they need to make. Okay? And they had to make you the bad guy. And they realized that you were right about the fact that they were projecting. You were right about the fact that they have narcissistic tendencies. They realize now that you are kind, you are generous, you have pure intentions, and that you're a good person. And that you champion emotional maturity. That is the way it should be done. And the world is broken and will not function correctly, and there will continue to be, everyone's playing their role. Everyone's playing their role, okay? But they know you are right about the fact that there's work that needs to be done within themselves. All that blame they put on you, it was pure bullshit. Every time you point a finger at one person, and how many fingers are pointing back at you? 3. 3 fingers are pointing back at you when you point at someone else. 3. And this is something they fail to realize. Okay? Alright, and they're starting to realize this now, that you were right about this. You may have called them out on their projection. You were right. Next we have addiction. Wow. My beautiful viewer. Your hater or haters is realizing now that you were right about the fact that they were attached to the wrong things. There was a message you sent them where you were basically trying to school them, yes, teach them. Their attachment to something wasn't good. Okay, I'm not sure what the exact details are. Next we have imposter. Wow. Yeah, it literally says here, the fear is not that you'll be found out. The fear is that you, my viewer, are right. In any moment, the grace period ends. So here's what I'm getting, my beautiful viewer, is that your hater or haters are realizing that they're the imposter. They're the fake one. And you're the real one. Okay? And I'm not trying to create like a situation here where it's all in black and white. But if we want to go black and white on this, okay, if you want to go black and white on this, your hater or haters recognize that you were right and they were wrong. Okay? They were afraid of your rightness. They were afraid that you were calling them out on their addiction to something toxic behaviors, their addiction to certain toxic substances even, or their addiction to certain ways of toxic perspectives. Okay? And they had such a huge fear of you being right. And they're just not wanting to be viewed as wrong. They're seeing the truth. They're seeing the truth, my beautiful viewer. That you're right, that they have bad things that they're addicted to. You're right about this. You may have sent them a message about this, calling them out on certain things. Okay? you may have had a message where you were trying to communicate to them that there was an opportunity at hand for there to be an improvement. Okay, for there to be an improvement, for there to be the practicing of certain solid practical skills that will get them away from certain toxic patterns, and they were afraid that you were right. Next we have toasting. Yeah, this person may have abused alcohol or substances. Yeah, and perhaps you told them you need to clean up your act, you need to clean up your life. Okay, and they didn't want to do this, and they realizing you were right about that. They're also realizing this could have applied to some of you all. You just take these messages as they resonate, okay? And but this is definitely pointing at you, okay? This is the kind of energy that's coming up in the reading for what your hater or haters now realize that you're right about. Is they should have acknowledged you. They should have acknowledged you more. They didn't acknowledge you enough, okay? You know, it said here that they didn't want you to be right. They didn't want you to win. This person was your hater or your haters were so consumed with not being the one to lose that their sense of rightness, their integrity just went out the window. And they're realizing that you were right, that you won. You won. That in reality you were right, because you were calling out negative attachments to bad toxic behaviors that they didn't want to leave behind, and you were right about it, and you won and you were right about it. You were right about what you were saying, 100%. Okay, so we have faith. Believe in yourself and your higher power. Wow, I keep seeing there's a child coming up here. There might be a child involved with this hater or haters that you're dealing with. And I feel like your person thinks that you're right, in the sense that you're the better parent. Okay, if this is a person that is a co-parent with you, they feel that you're the better parent. Okay, you're the better parent with better belief systems, more wholesome attitudes. Okay. Now they're also feeling that you're right, because when you called out this imbalance, this unfairness, it came from a belief in yourself. Okay? You believed in yourself, my beautiful viewer. You believed in your goodness. No one, not even them, was going to pull the wool over your eyes, trying to make it seem they were projecting onto you, right? Trying to make it seem like you are the one at fault. You are the one to blame. You are the one who's the problem. You're too sensitive. You're just finding fault. You're just causing problems. You're just bringing stress. If you call out a problem, then you are the problem, right? Wrong. Fucking wrong. They were wrong, and you were right. And your intent in bringing up these concerns, you are coming from a place of rightness. Your intent in trying to balance out the scales was coming from a place of you believing in your own goodness. You believing in the goodness of a higher power. You are not intimidated. Okay? And you pointing this out was the right thing to do. This is what they now realize about you. It says your key: successful outcome to your problems. My beautiful viewer. Your hater or haters now realize that you are right to bring this up to the authorities. You are right to call them out. You are right to ask for justice to be served. You are right to have faith in the justice system. You are right to go the legal route in dealing with them. This was the right thing to do. They may have tried to guilt you on this. They may have tried to say, why do you have to take it to that extreme? Why do you have to call me out? Why do you have to take it to that level to where it's like make it or break it? You either treat me right or I'm out. Why do you have to take it there? You were right. They realized that you were right to do this. Okay? That was the key and the answer to your problems with them. We got choices. Yeah. They're also realizing that you made the right choice in choosing someone else. This might be referring to an ex. If you have a situation where this has to do with your ex or someone you used to date, you ended up leaving this person behind because you realized that they were messed up and not a good person, and you've chosen someone else. You are right to do so. You are right to weigh them and compare them to other people and choose the better person. They're also realizing now that you were right that they were playing favorites. Okay, this could be pertaining to some of y'all, maybe not all, but they were, like, it could be playing favorites when it comes to other people, choosing someone else over you, or choosing themselves over you, instead of trying to give each side what each side was due. You were right to want to be treated equally. You were right to want to be treated the same, or to want to be, maybe it was a situation where they were cheating or something. Okay, and you were right to make them choose, to say you need to make a choice. You can't have your cake and eat it too. That's another message coming through. Okay, that's another message coming through. You were right, and that if they couldn't choose, then you were going to be leaving, or you were going to be filing for a divorce, or you were going to be taking yourself seriously and getting yourself out of that situation, because you deserve to be prioritized, my beautiful viewer. Or you deserve to be treated the same as others. And so you did the right thing bringing it up. You did the right thing bringing it up to the authorities. Okay, let's take a look at your next few oracle cards here. We have so beautiful, so beautiful. You are magnificent and unique. My beautiful viewer, did your hater or haters try to make you feel like you were ugly or something? Or try to make you feel like you weren't cute, or cute enough, or good looking enough? They're realizing that you chose to beautify yourself anyway. You chose to make yourself look good anyway. You chose to honor your looks and take care of yourself and beautify yourself anyway. You didn't take on that outlook they had. They would have, if you'd taken on their outlook, that would have ruined your self-esteem. You did not take that on. You continue to care about yourself, prioritize yourself, value yourself, love yourself, and view yourself as beautiful in your own way. And they're realizing that you were right about that. Okay? Some of y'all may have stopped eating so much, and they're realizing you were right to stop doing that. That's a side message. Okay? Because it's made you more attractive, made you more good looking. Okay? Alright, let's take a look at your next card. We got Horseshoe, good luck. They're realizing that you're beautiful, good looking, and that you brought them good luck, good fortune. When you were in their lives, okay, when you were connected to them, you brought beauty into their world. When you were connected to them, you brought good luck, because things flowed better. Things flowed better. And they're realizing now that you were right. Your presence in their lives was right. And, that your presence in their life meant things was going well, and not the other way around. Okay? Next, we have Radiant Health. Yeah, I definitely see that some of y'all glowed up. You glowed up. You're healthier now. You're more beautiful. Your skin is glowing. Your hair looks gorgeous. You're dressed nicely. You dress yourself like you value yourself. They realize now that you are right to prioritize your health. Okay? And what it meant to prioritize your health was to stop accepting their overtures. Stop accepting their emotional offers. Stop accepting them saying, okay, all right, well, even though they mistreated you, even though they didn't treat you fairly, even though they tried to pull the wool over your eyes, even though they tried to gaslight you and project onto you, even though they treated you in toxic ways, whatever it is, they realize that you refusing them now. I feel like they may have tried to get back in your life, tried to make offers to try to get back in with your good graces, even though they treated you this way. And they're realizing now that you choosing to not deal with them anymore and reject them and withdraw from them, and just your natural state of indifference and disinterest in them, was healthy for you. It helped you glow up. It helped you stop eating so much. Perhaps you were a stress eater, and when they were in your lives, you were eating more. They actually caused you to gain weight or something, and you rejecting them has been tantamount to you having supreme health. You've been bouncing back. You've been glowing up. You've been caring about yourself. You've been looking beautiful. Good luck is flowing back into your life again. Your health is improving. You're glowing. You're shining. Remember I said glowing and shining here? Look, we got glowing and shining literally on this next card. You're vibrant. You're full of life. Ever since you started saying no to them, ever since you started rejecting their offers, shunning them, a lack of interest in them, it's been a powerful force in your life that you've been turning away from toxicity. You've been rejecting toxicity. You've been rejecting what has been holding you back. You've been rejecting what has been making you sick. And they realize that you firmly standing on, I don't want anything to do with you, and I'm going to be around people who make me feel beautiful, who make me feel good, who I glow around, that you are right to do this. And that's what I'm seeing in the cards for you, my beautiful viewer. If you've enjoyed this reading, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what portion of this reading or portions you really felt a strong connection to. I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. If you really enjoyed this reading, you value what I'm doing here, and you would like to support my work, then please consider subscribing. That would really help my channel. And turn on that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I put out a new video. I also would like to remind you that I'm now going to be posting on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 4 days a week for you. Thank you for coming by and visiting. I appreciate your energy. Take very good care of yourself, and I'll catch up with you at the next one. Bye!